Yo, what's up, guys? We're back for another breakdown and predictions video. We got UFC RIO, so let's get into it, man. Hit the like button, and let's start the video. First fight of the night, Simon Oliveira versus Luan Lacerda. We got Brazil on Brazil crime right away to start off the night, and two fighters that are fun to watch, so it should be an entertaining contest. I think both these guys go for it. It's probably going to produce a finish in this matchup, but then again, Simon Oliveira until recently has been a very difficult guy to put away, and obviously Lacerda is good as well, so maybe it'll go the distance, but honestly I think with these two guys' styles, it's probably going to be a finish for one of these two. But you look at it, Simon Oliveira, very wild guy. He wants to create chaos on the feet, close the distance, get in the pocket, throw elbows, throw knees, and he wants to try to throw flying knees or wild attacks to get you to shoot on him, and then he throws that guillotine. And his guillotine is really good. He has a ton of guillotine finishes, but we've seen fights like versus Tony Gravely and other matches where he gets fixated on certain things, like in the Gravely fight, it was the guillotine. He kept shooting the guillotine over and over, he didn't get it, and then his last fight, he was just spinning. He was spinning over and over, he kept trying to land spinning back fists, and I feel like when he gets desperate, he tries to just go for one move over and over to finish the fight. And pretty much, it's like, if he doesn't get it, he's either going to run out of time and lose, or he's going to get finished. And he does slow down and get tired. But Luan Lacerda, he's coming in off of a layoff. You look at Oliveira, he has 3 losses in a row, but Lacerda's lost 2 in a row himself. Even though the fight was stayed in, you could argue that he did win that match. But Lacerda, I think that he's a little better everywhere technically on the feet. He might not be as fast or offensive, like dynamic with it, but he is longer, he holds the center. I think he's going to wait for Oliveira, who kind of just close the distance recklessly without feints and try to pull him into big 3-2s, hurt him. His jab should be there, he's going to be throwing calf kicks, front kicks up the middle, and he could get clipped, but I don't know if Oliveira really has the power to hurt him too much. The way Oliveira is likely going to win if he does is a first-round submission where he either hurts Lacerda, then jumps on the neck, or Lacerda just shoots a blind takedown and gets his neck caught. But I think that as the fight goes on, Lacerda could start landing some big shots, and if Oliveira gets tired and gets sloppy in the grappling, like I've seen him do previously, and starts giving his back up, Lacerda could actually make him pay for that and get the submission. So I think Lacerda can win in a multitude of ways. So I'm going to predict that Lacerda wins that match via finish in round 2 or round 3. So give me Luan Lacerda to kick off the card. Second fight of the night, Julia Palofsky versus Karolina Kowalkiewicz. We got a new breed versus the old breed, someone that is 12 years younger in Julia Palofsky in comparison to Karolina, who is 39, almost 40. She's gonna, I believe, be 40 on fight night, so that's pretty crazy 40th birthday. But shout out to Karolina in Brazil on her 40th on fight night, and this is someone that had a huge losing streak, was definitely looking like she was on the verge of retirement. There are people that were calling for her to retire multiple fights into her losing streak, but she went to American Top Team, rebounded, got a nice win streak, but now she's lost 2 in a row again. And at this point, Karolina pioneered this weight division. She fought for the belt. She's beaten some of the best ever, like Rose Namajunas, but kind of just a gatekeeper to the top 15 at this point. And Julia Palofsky 1-2 so far in the UFC, but been pretty impressive. She has been competitive in the losses and had a good performance against Corey McKenna, and her style is fun to watch. I feel like it's just going to be a clinch fest because you look at Palofsky, she's going to be a lot faster in the stand-up, but I just don't think her striking is as good as people think. I mean, she has nice lead hand offense. She'll throw nice kicks from the lead leg kicks, but everything is coming from that one side. She doesn't really let her right hand go until she backs you up against the fence. And I don't like the fact that she's always pulling back. I mean, it gives a takedown, it gives body shots, leg kicks. And you know Carolina's going to have a good game plan. I think she's going to come in trying to feint punches, maybe shoot takedowns, and maybe a submission for Palastri could materialize off of her back. But if Carolina is unsuccessful with the takedowns and it just becomes a clinch battle, I think Palastri is going to be a little stronger, more active at this point in their careers. The clinch used to be Carolina's thing. I mean, she used to be a beast in the clinch. She would bully people in there, but I don't know if she still is going to have that same physicality and just will in comparison to Palastri, who's very good with her conditioning and pressure. She's someone that wants it at this moment, and she knows this is a big opportunity fighting a name like Carolina. So I just think Palastri is going to be a little hungrier, and it's going to play out that way. I think in terms of a finish, it could be Palastri via sub, but that's kind of a long shot. And you look at Kovalkevich's path to victory, I mean, potentially pressuring and being the one that actually controls the clinch, or, like I said, using feints or her punches to set up takedowns and then actually avoiding the submission and just controlling the fight. But I think that Palastri is the rightful favorite and should get the win on Saturday. So give me Palastri in that one. As a prediction, I'll say she wins via decision. And the next fight we got on the card here, two younger fighters in the organization. I guess that Stewart's a little bit older for flyweight at almost 31, but only one fight in the UFC for both these guys. Rocha coming in at 25, and Rocha's the Brazilian guy, so he's going to have the crowd on his side. Nicoll is coming in from Australia, and these guys are completely different stylistically. You look at Rocha, very small. Flyweight is 5'3", 64-inch reach, whereas Stewart Nicoll is a little bit bigger of a flyweight, and he's going to have a height and reach advantage. And Rocha, he's a striker. He has a nice jab. He moves around well. He'll try to pull you into big right hands. He has a really nice flying knee, decent kicking game. And then he's good at scrambling. He's one of these guys where he'll get taken down early. He could stay safe. He survives, and he kind of figures out how you're going to try to take him down. He could shut it down a little bit better. And as you slow down, he's going to be able to keep the pace. He's going to have good conditioning if you don't just kind of pound him into the dirt and the ground like Clayton Carpenter did in his last loss, for instance. And he can kind of either get you tired and make you shoot a bad takedown and knock you out, or, beat you via decision. And he has a lot of experience, as you see, with 19 fights. Stewart Nicoll, he's a grappler. He's a wrestler. He's very confident. So that's something that hopefully he could still bring into this fight after he lost his first fight ever against Jesus Aguilar in his UFC debut. Aguilar just caught him in that guillotine, and Nicoll almost finished him really early in the fight. He took Aguilar's back. He had him fully flattened out. He was ground and pounding, but Aguilar was able to explode out of there. It was very early in the fight. He was as fresh as ever, and he got out, and then I think Nicoll was just very confident that he was going to be able to get out of that guillotine. He was bossing the grappling exchanges. I'm going to be on top again. And, he just didn't respect the guillotine, and he got put to sleep, which is a lesson learned for him. So coming into this Rocha fight, I think it's pretty obvious what both these guys want to do. Rocha's going to be looking to keep it on the feet. He's going to be looking to pull Stewart Nicoll into a big knee, into a big right hand, put his lights out. And Stewart Nicoll is going to be trying to implement the same game plan that Clayton Carpenter did. And you see Stewart Nicoll, when he actually does get takedowns, he's really good on top. Great ground and pound, floats very well. He has great back takes, good submissions. I like his game from the top position. He just needs to be a little bit more refined and composed at the UFC level. And if he could do that and kind of learn from that Aguilar fight that you can't just run guys over really early in the fight, most of the time, he is going to be able to bounce back, I believe. But he's reckless on the feet. And at 125, it's not as big of a deal because these guys aren't necessarily putting you out with one punch. But I do think that Nicoll's striking definitely needs work. Like when he goes forward and he's able to slip one shot, come back with the big right hand, he has power in his punches and he can kind of rock you and then take you down. Good leg kicks as well. Big, powerful kicks. Like his kicks are impressive, but if you back him up, I don't really like his reactions to pressure. He kind of ducks, and he could eat a head kick, eat a knee. So he needs to be very wary of that. And ultimately, I just think that he has to get better the way he enters, better feints, better guard, and just improve his defense. Because if he can get on top of most guys, I think he's going to be able to do really well. So it's just about those little improvements for Nicoll. And in this fight, I think that Nicoll can get the job done. He just has to go in there in this environment in Brazil, 0-1 in the UFC, pressure on your shoulders, and perform. And he can't be reckless and kind of overzealous and get knocked out and put to sleep. But I think that if he can get it on the ground, we saw Clayton Carpenter really bully Rocha, elbows, beat him up, cut him open. I think that we could see Stewart Nicoll do the same thing. And then if Stewart Nicoll can wear down Rocha a little bit, get the back, he can get the submission, get the finish, go home maybe with an extra 50 Gs. So I think that Stewart Nicoll can bounce back and get this win, but I'm more like the under. I think that this fight's not going to go the distance. I think that Rocha also is live for the knockout. So I think the under kind of takes into account Rocha's moneyline equity as well. So I think that's a good play on this fight card. And flyweights, man, they're getting better at finishing. So I think that the market is still maybe not quite adjusted to that. Even though this line is not like the greatest for inside the distance prop for a flyweight fight, I think it's going to hit. So I'm going to go with Nicoll. I'm going to say second round rear naked choke win in that fight. And continuing through the card, we got Irina Alekseeva versus Mesquita in this next one. And this is a matchup where they're definitely looking to give Irina a loss at the end of her contract, get Bea a win, her feet wet in the UFC, and then see how far she could take it here. Because Alekseeva, she is older, 35 years old. She's had a really kind of clunky UFC career where she has had layoffs. She had a really good couple performances where she got some finishes and a little bit of a fan base because she's kind of just a wild person, but lost her last two fights, gassed out after 5 minutes, and kind of just exposed where she's just someone that goes in there, wants to put the pressure on you, bully you, get in a brawl in the pocket. And if you can move around, if you can use speed, cut angles, and land strikes, you're going to beat her up. And then her grappling is decent. Like, she has some submission threats, but it's not the greatest. And ultimately, she comes in very upright. You could take her down. We saw Melissa Mullins mount her, get in really dominant positions. And one thing about Alekseeva is she is tough. I mean, she will battle through it. She's a hard person to finish. But looking at Bea Mesquita, I mean, this is someone that is training an American top team, is undefeated so far in her MMA career, 5-0 with 5 finishes. And she has one of the best resumes of all time for jiu-jitsu. So great pedigree for her, exceptional athlete. The only thing with her that I would say that is a bit of a red flag is the age, right? She's 34, so that's not the greatest thing to see when you see someone making their UFC debut, but it's not as consequential to me because she hasn't taken that damage in fights. She's never been really rocked or knocked out or anything. She has no big cuts. I don't know about any major injuries that she's had. So in that sense, if she's just in good shape, probably isn't going to be as big of a deal. And in this fight, she's actually younger than Alekseeva, so it doesn't really matter for this matchup in particular. But Mesquita, I mean, her striking, definitely a work in progress, kind of clunky on the feet. She's a little bit stiff, but it's not bad striking. Like, she's technical with her defense. She's not a fish out of water. And then she could time the takedowns. And on top, she's elite. She could kind of slow cook you and then find the finish. And she's not someone that's going to lose position. She's going to be able to win rounds dominantly if she gets a takedown. So she should be able to win this fight fairly easily. I mean, Alekseeva could go in there and make it crazy and find the finish because Bea is not super experienced. But I think if Bea can survive that early craziness, she's going to get on top and find the finish at some point. So I'll say round 2 submission for Mesquita, but at the odds, I mean, minus 650, you got to go with the prop there. I mean, got to go with the sub, I guess, or round 2, round 1, round 2, because I don't see, you getting a lot of value and even parlaying up that price there. But keeping the fight card going here, Vitor Petrino versus Thomas Peterson in this next match. And, I mean, I don't know, kind of a weird fight for me because I'm still feeling out Vitor at heavyweight. He got the quick finish against Austin Lane, who's kind of like a guy the UFC throws in there for anyone that they want to get a win, and Austin Lane delivers them a nice W on a silver platter. So, I mean, Vitor Petrino took him down, submitted him. It was pretty impressive because Austin Lane has had success against guys even in his losses. Like, we're going to talk about Mario Pinto later in the card, and Austin Lane actually was beating him up for portions of that fight, but Vitor handled business really easy versus Austin Lane and took him down, submitted him. Looks like he's at home at heavyweight. He's a big guy, like 250, so it's not like he's going to be super undersized or anything like that. He's actually going to be the bigger guy frame-wise in this fight. Like, he's going to have the reach advantage, the height advantage. He's fighting at home. And, I mean, Vitor on the feet, I think, is way better in this fight. Just speed and power. I think that he could land some kicks and maybe some hooks or something. But the thing with Vitor on the feet is he's just so low volume, it's hard for him to separate himself unless he gets the finish. But Thomas Peterson, I mean, really slow guy. He's a decent heavyweight. I mean, he has good wrestling. He's tenacious. He'll pressure you. He could dirty box you fairly well. And he's someone that brings his hard hat. So a lot of heavyweights that don't really work hard, they can't wrestle whatsoever. Peterson, he brings that nice wrestling background. He could outwork you. He could take you down, and he might not be the most explosive guy. He might not be a one-punch knockout guy, but he can beat you on points, or he can kind of wear you out and then get that finish in some method. So he's not bad, but I feel like when you saw him level up and fight Shamil Gaziev, a little bit more skilled and athletic, explosive, dangerous heavyweight, he was completely outclassed. He got beat down in that fight. And I know since then he's made some changes. He's had more time at American Top Team to get better with really good guys, but I don't know if he's ready for this moment. I mean, Vitor Petrino in Brazil, he may have some decent start to the fight if Vitor comes in kind of sleepwalking like he has been in other matches. But I don't know if he's going to take Vitor down I don't think he has really that submission threat, which is how we saw Vitor lay that big egg against Anthony Smith. And on the feet, I don't think Peterson's going to knock him out or anything. So even if he could land a few shots, I don't know if it's going to really be like a consequential blow. So I think Vitor at some point will get the finish, whether it's him getting on top and finding submission or finding a knockout. I don't really have a clear read on the method, but I'll say Vitor's second round knockout as a prediction for that one and lean towards Vitor Petrino. And continuing on, we got Jafel Filho versus Clayton Carpenter in this next fight. And I'm a fan of this fight. I like this fight. Both these guys are grapplers, but they can keep it standing and do well on the feet too. And Jafel Filho came back from a pretty long layoff in his last one, fought a lot of Nascimento, and he ended up losing that fight. So it was competitive, but you saw Filho make mistakes that cost him the match. Like he got the back in round 2 and round 3 and fell off the back being too overzealous, and that's how he lost the fight. He got controlled after that, but he has a new fight to make those adjustments, and he's taking on Carpenter, who is coming off a loss, his first career loss to Tagir Ulanbekov, which at 8-0 to take that step up and fight Tagir, it was very ambitious of him, and he didn't do terrible. I mean, I thought he won the second round, and then round 3 was fairly competitive, but he just showed that inexperience because he's a great grappler. He's a gi no gi world champion, and I don't think he's used to someone out wrestling him, putting him on his back in an MMA fight, for one. And when he was there, I think he just believed that he could either get a sweep or get a submission, and he was fishing for stuff off bottom. He did get up a couple times, but I feel like he could have maybe gotten up, but he thought he was going to be able to do something off his back, and Tagir ultimately won those minutes and won the decision. When Carpenter got on top as well, Tagir did kind of cheat to stand up, grabbing his shorts, so that was something as well. But looking at this matchup, I mean, on the feet, I do favor Jafel Filho because Carpenter, he's explosive. He could land some big shots. Maybe if Filho slows down, he could knock him out. But I feel like Filo's pressure is going to be the difference in the stand-up because Carpenter, he likes to move around, have a lot of kind of distance between him and his opponent on the feet. He'll explode in with a really nasty left hook, really good 3-2s, and then he has a pretty good kicking game as well. And he's a low crouch stance, and he's already a shorter guy, so he's good at kind of getting in, landing those punches, using those strikes to get the takedown. So it complements his style, but I feel like if you pressure him, especially if you get him back near the fence, he's not the most comfortable in exchanges. He's definitely going to try to make it more of a grappling match if that happens. And Jafel Filho, that's exactly what he's going to do. He's going to pressure him hard, try to get him to the fence. If I was Filho, I would say, don't smother your work and just fall into the clinch like you do so often, because in this fight, it might not be advantageous for you to grapple with this guy. You should try to keep it more standing and make him pay on the feet. But I don't think Jafel Filho is a very smart guy in the cage with this fight IQ. I think he has fight IQ issues, and I could see that costing him this fight because if he grapples with Carpenter, I just think he's going to make those same mistakes that he did against Alon Nascimento if he gets on top, and I think Carpenter will be able to scramble, put him on his back, control him, And I just feel like Carpenter is the more solid grappler overall. And I'm a little worried about the whole traveling to Brazil at 8-1 after a loss for Carpenter, because I don't know exactly, how his mindset's going to be, into that enemy territory. But I just feel like Jafel Filho, he's going to have fight IQ problems in this fight once again. He is going to lose position on the ground. He's going to let Clayton Carpenter get on top of him, control him for large periods, and he's going to lose the fight. And I feel like if he had more faith in his striking, was a little bit better at keeping the distance, he would win that fight, but I don't think he's going to do it. So I'm going to go in that fight with Clayton Carpenter via decision. And the next matchup that we got on this card, I'm going to actually go with Carpenter third round submission, actually. I'll say that because I've seen Filho get submitted in the third round a few times. I think Carpenter could get the back potentially and find that sub. So third round sub for Clayton Carpenter. I think that's actually a nice long shot prop to target because has a good chance to hit there. But next fight on the card, Lucas Almeida versus Michael Aswell. This should be a banger right here. I feel like kind of a difficult fight for me to have a read on. This one of these fights that I have low confidence on as far as a prediction. So if anyone's confident on this fight, put in the comments why you're on either side. But I'm going to roll with Lucas Almeida here. I'll keep it short on this one because, like I said, I don't have the greatest read. But I like Aswell. Thought about picking Aswell just because 4-ounce Fight Club's been doing really well recently. And Aswell, he stepped up. He fought good against Oki, but I just think that he's not going to use his wrestling in this one. We've seen him in his recent fights go out there, pressure, stay in the pocket, try to, bang it out, use his 1-2s, use the counter check hook. And he's flashed like sneaky power in some fights, and then other fights he's landed 100 punches and didn't have a big effect. So his power seems kind of weird. Like sometimes it'll be there, some fights it won't be there. But Almeida is a little chinny, I think. So maybe Aswell could buzz him, but ultimately I just think Almeida is a little sharper. I think he has a really nice 3-2 himself. Better kicks, and I think that Almeida is a little more powerful. So if it's a striking fight, if they're going to be in the pocket, I think Almeida could win that. It'll be similar to the Kwamba fight, even though I think Aswell is a little better than Timmy Kwamba. I just think Almeida's still going to be able to beat him. And Aswell, if he mixed in takedowns and used a smart game plan, I think he could get the win, but I just don't trust him to do that. So I'm going to say Almeida wins in a gritty decision in that one. And next fight we got is Ricardo Ramos versus Kaan Ofli. Went back and forth on this fight. I think this is closer matchup than the odds indicate because you look at Ramos, she has a couple wins versus pressure fighters where he just caught him with that spinning back elbow, but he doesn't do good versus guys that pressure. And I was fairly impressed with Kaan Ofli's last performance. I know he laid some stinkers, like his debut versus Myron Santos was bad, and then obviously he didn't do enough to beat Muhammad Naimov, but I did think he looked decent there. And, you look at Ofli, he does square up, and I'm worried about Ramos landing, a spinning elbow, big knee or something, and putting him out, or timing a takedown early in the fight, getting his back when they're dry and submitting him. But I don't think that Ramos is the greatest when he's forced to fight moving backwards, when it's not a tit-for-tat range fight, or when he can't boss the fight and be moving forward or get his takedowns. And Ofli, I feel like if he comes in here with the takedown defense on point and is able to pressure, be smart early with his guard and his defense, get on those leg kicks, put Ramos, on the fence, I think he could land some big punches and he could hurt him a little bit. He could rock him. He can get him uncomfortable, get the fight going downhill. And I think that he could win the fight in that way and get a decision here. Because Ramos, I don't think is someone that really fights good when he has to come back. He did have that epic comeback for the hobby, and that's kind of what I'm worried about with the Ofli, that kind of finish. But I'm just going to go with the value side here because I think that Ramos is kind of on his way out a little bit. And even though Ofli, he's the older guy, I thought he looked like he made improvements in his last fight. He's hungry, wants to get a win in the UFC. So, against the grain kind of prediction here in this one, but I'm going to say Ofli is the fighter that comes in better shape here, a little hungrier, better boxing, able to pressure through the kicks, avoid all the spinning and crazy attacks from Ramos, not get taken down and win that decision. So, going to go with Kaan Ofli there. And we got Jhonata Diniz against Mario Pinto in this next one. And I don't know how anyone could be super confident in this fight. I mean, I saw Pinto was originally the favorite, but now the line flipped. And I do agree with that. I'm going to go with Diniz. I just feel like two strikers. Pinto, big guy, impressive, super fast, super tall guy. But we're going to have someone, Diniz, that in this matchup is going to be able to be pretty much just as tall, just as long. And I think that the experience and the striking for Diniz is just gigantic in terms of how much more he has than Pinto. He's fought the best strikers in the world. He's been at that top level in kickboxing. And he did gas his last fight, but he landed 1,000,000 punches on that juice head guy and, couldn't get him out of there. So, Pinto, he was getting rocked and kind of looked a little suspect against Austin Lane. I feel like Diniz can maybe knock him out or just, win on points here. I'm not super confident on if he's going to get a knockout or if this is going to go the full distance because we just haven't seen Pinto, how he's going to look if he's really pushed or in a longer fight. And obviously it's heavyweight, so either of these guys could just put each other's lights out with one shot. But I'm just going to go with the more credentialed striker there in Diniz to get the win as the slight favorite. And the next matchup we got here, we got Vicente Luque taking on Joel Alvarez. And, man, kind of a sad fight for me. I mean, Vicente Luque looked really bad once again his last fight against Kevin Holland. And they're feeding him to a guy that's a great finisher, very dynamic with the stand-up, and then elite submissions. And I just feel like Luque at this point in his career, he's not ready to deal with the pressure and power, the size, the violence that's going to be coming at him from Alvarez with the elbows, with the knees, with combinations. And I just feel like he's going to shoot into a submission and get submitted in the first round. So I like Joel Alvarez here. I feel like he's one of the safer plays on the card. I've seen some people, saying Luque could win with takedowns, but I don't see it, man. I don't think it's going to happen. So I just got to roll with Alvarez now, and I think at this point he's going to be dominant in that matchup. And the next fight we got on here, we got Deiveson Figueiredo versus Montel Jackson. This is the co-main event of the card. And Figueiredo coming back pretty quick after that loss to Sandhagen where he did suffer a knee injury, but I guess it wasn't as bad as what people initially thought it was. They believed he tore his ACL, but I think that they ended up seeing that it was a torn ALL, and he was able to come back fairly quickly, obviously. But taking on Montel Jackson, and Montel Jackson, big step up for him, man. I mean, he's coming off the win over Daniel Marcos, but he's never even fought someone anywhere near a Deiveson Figueiredo. All the guys that he's fought are kind of been like under the radar, hardcore fan type of matchups. And now he's fighting a former champion. So this is his chance, co-main event in Brazil. And Montel, he doesn't talk any trash. I mean, when the guy doesn't fight, you don't hear from him at all. I mean, he's like a ghost. So comes in, does his business, and then, you don't hear from him. Sometimes he has long layoffs too. So he's not going to have a ton of these opportunities if he botches them. So he needs to win this fight and get himself into, that top 10. And for Figueiredo, it's like every fight from now on out, it's kind of the last stand for him. He's still talking delusionally, so I don't know if that's a good thing. I mean, you could see that as like, okay, he's still in it, or he's just kind of talking out of his ass, because he was saying, like, I'm going to skip the line and I'm going to end up fighting Merab after this one, which, no way. I mean, 2 losses in a row where he got dominated pretty much. And, there's no way that he's going to be able to get the title shot, but at least he's still looking up. He's not like saying, oh, this might be my last one, and that would be, I guess, more negative. But Montel, on the other hand, even though he's 33, like I said, this is his opportunity to kind of get on the map. So he has the hunger, you would think, but I'm kind of like, this fight's making me, it smells funny to me. I don't know. I mean, I feel like obviously it's set up for Jackson to get the win. He's way bigger. He has the momentum. He's the younger guy. Deiveson's coming off losses. He's coming off a bad injury loss to Corey Sandhagen. But man, I mean, we've seen Deiveson go out there, beat Rob Font, beat Chito Vera in this division. 2 similar guys that are going to want to pressure, use their length on the feet. But the thing is, they're older, they're veterans, they're similar age to Deiveson. They're not as big, not as explosive, not as dangerous to one punch, I don't think, as well. And I mean, the only thing I'm worried about with Montel is sometimes he can get taken down. And if he's nonchalant with his defense in this fight, gives his back, gets put in a guillotine, we could see, Deiveson get a knockout. And then Deiveson does have knockout power as well. Good striking. So I think it's a hard fight. It's a harder matchup that people are giving credit for. And the line at plus 220, I feel like it's maybe a dog or pass, but I'm just not brave enough to go on the Deiveson side for some reason. I just feel like logically, I got to say Montel gets the victory here. I think that he's just going to be way bigger. He should be able to have better striking overall on the feet, more volume, better boxing, more power. I think his power is going to spook Deiveson a little bit, where we saw like Daniel Marcos, he had a really odd game plan where he was completely trying to avoid the striking and shoot at any cost. And I think that we're going to see Deiveson start to look desperate like that as well. And as long as Montel doesn't fall into a submission or his takedown defense isn't up to par here, I think he's going to be able to use his power and pressure to either, I don't know if he's going to finish Deiveson. It's going to be tough to finish him, I think, with stand-up. But I think he'll win via decision here, and I'm going to go with Montel Jackson. But that's a tricky fight to me. I think that's a close one. And next up on the card, we got a fairly new main event, really cool fight. Charles Oliveira versus Mateusz Gamrot. And I'm really happy for Gamrot that he got this fight, man. I feel like he's someone that doesn't get the respect from the fans that he's earned, because He accepts anybody. He'll fight at any time. He's flying to Brazil short notice. I mean, he's proven it with this matchup. And he might not have the most entertaining style in the world. I mean, some people will even say he's extremely boring or whatever you want to say. But he comes in great shape. He's never going to quit on you. If you knock him down, he's going to keep coming right back at you, bounce back, recover. And he's getting some sick wins. I mean, if he beats Charles Oliveira, look at this guy's resume. Look at the people that he's beaten. So, shout out to Gamrot, and I'm glad that he got this fight because no one wants to fight the guy. The guy is a freaking tough puzzle to solve. He's having to fight all these huge hitters, these bad matchups, hard matchups for him outside of people that he should fight, in terms of what he's earned because people don't want to match up with him. And even Charles was not interested in the fight at first because it's a motherfucker of a fight. I mean, you got a guy that's going to be wrestling you nonstop that has really good top control, great grappling, and doesn't have a name and is not really liked by the fans. So if you beat him, people are going to be like, oh, well, Gamrot is a great win. And if you lose, it's a big tumble down the rankings for you. So that's why I'm trying to hype up Gamrot. Like, I think he needs more respect because I feel like this is a hard fight for Charles, man. I mean, Charles Oliveira, a legend of the game, one of the best lightweights of all time. But coming off that brutal loss to Ilia Topuria not so long ago, and this is stylistically the worst type of fight for Charles, a guy that is hard to put away with the strikes, that is good with the pressure, is going to be on you, is going to be looking to take you down. He's elite wrestling, is going to be extremely difficult to submit. And if he is in shape, the one thing that's a little bit of a monkey wrench is the short notice nature of the fight, then he's not going to get tired. And I feel like Gamrot is going to be ready to go. The guy's calling out someone on Twitter every week. He's extremely dedicated, and I think that he's going to be in shape. He's going to be ready to wrestle. And if Charles doesn't catch him in a guillotine, if he doesn't scramble off his back and use his guard to get on top or get a submission, attack the leg, something, it's going to be a super long night for him. I mean, Gamrot's going to take him down. He's going to put him in half guard. He's going to staple him to the ground. He's going to beat him up, and he's either going to find the submission or he's going to find himself a winner after 25 minutes with Charles. So, Charles, I think, obviously is going to want to pressure hard in this fight, try to run Gamrot's head into a knee, try to land some big strikes. But the thing is, he just got knocked out. So front foot forward, guy that gets hurt in a lot of fights, does he want to pressure and be exposed like that early on? I don't know if that's necessarily going to be something that he should do or is going to want to do. And then he's not going to be able to take down Gamrot like he has in a lot of wins against other guys that he's beaten and out-grapple him. So I feel like Charles is not winning this fight for a multitude of reasons. I mean, obviously, he could have found a cooler matchup. Gamrot isn't necessarily a big name or a fun fight, but I think he knows it's a very hard style for him. He has fought, Arman Tsarukyan just recently, America Top Team guy as well. So I know that they don't get along, Arman and Mateusz, but it's the same coaches that are going to be getting him ready, that know how to beat Charles, that have fought Charles so many times, Dustin as well. So they're going to have a good game plan. They're going to have Mateusz ready to go. And I think that it's easier for Mateusz to go in there and just wrestle and do his thing than it is for Charles to adjust to this matchup. So, having said all that, I got Mateusz Gamrot winning in this main event. I'll say he wins via 4th round submission or decision in this one. I think he's going to put Charles to the ringer, unfortunately. Take him down a bunch, pressure him. I think you could even rock him on the feet. I feel like a knockout is honestly on the table for Gamrot. If Gamrot was more of a heavy hitter and things like that, I would maybe predict the knockout. But, yeah, man, I got Gamrot in the main event. So, thanks for watching this full video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you learned something. Hit the like button like I said at the start of the video. And put a comment down below, man. Whatever you want to say. If you want to just put what's up. If you want to say who's your most confident pick. Who you're betting on. What picks you agree on. You disagree on. Would love to hear some feedback on this fight cards. Or on this video. So put a comment down below for sure. But for the parlay of the week that I have on this card, I'll give you guys, let's look at it. I'll give you guys a parlay with Bea Mesquita and Luan Lacerda. So that'll be the parlay for that card. And in terms of my most confident pick on the card, I guess I would say Joel Alvarez. So if you want to throw him in the parlay as well, I think that he's going to get the W also. So thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. And like I just said, hit the like button and peace out.